what happened with this guy?
Well, when we came to Universal, we wanted to create a character as opposed to creating a pantheon of characters as you would do for a fighting game. We wanted somebody to focus on. And we also wanted a cartoon-style character. So we went out and we hired 2 cartoon animators from Hollywood. This was our big move from Boston, where we did Where the Warrior, to Hollywood. We decided to get cartoon talent and paid off in spades because we had people that could tell us right off the bat, this kind of thing works, this kind of thing doesn't work. And working with them, the original 8 members of Naughty Dog created, slowly but surely, Crash.
Hey, it's your favorite monotone animator back with not only another animation video, but another Crash animation video. Those who know me know I haven't stopped talking about this game or this franchise in recent times. I've been waiting for a true Crash Bandicoot 3 sequel for over 20 years, so it's probably an understatement to say I was very excited about this game. During those 20 plus years, as many of you know, I became an animator. I always loved the animation in the original games, so I was looking forward to seeing how things panned out in this sequel. I was not disappointed, and in this video I want to highlight mainly the gameplay animations of the game, talk about how some of them were most likely made and why they are so inspiring. Also, I want to mention why they are some of the best cartoony animation in games in current times. This is the N.Sane character animation of Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. Gameplay animations in a game can take a while to perfect. A character can do so many things in games nowadays, and even though Crash still has a mostly basic moveset, the polish in his animations are great. In a game like this, you can expect a decent amount of animations for the playable character, and Crash 4 has 5 playable characters. This is an insane amount of animation to go through, especially when you consider the ground movement, air movement, and the death animations that are in the game. And even though yes, Coco controls the exact same as Crash, all her animations are completely unique. Anyway, let's start with Crash. I just want to quickly touch on how great Crash's idol is in this game. It's got such a strong silhouette and really shows off the incredible art direction the game took. All of the designs in here are a breath of fresh air, and this one idol pose highlights why. Let's talk about the run. There seems to have been some controversy around the run in this game, both when it was first shown and even a little bit now. You may think it's a bit strange for people to complain about a running animation, but the reason why it was a hot topic is because running is one of, if not the most important gameplay animation in a game. In Jonathan Cooper's game anim, he says, "It is highly likely that the player run cycle will be the animation viewed most in the entire game by a wide margin, so it needs to look flawless by the end of the project. The player will spend most of their time running around on the ground, which is why it is so crucial to get it right." The marketing team obviously thought it was a great animation as well, as it was highlighted quite nicely in the original trailer here. I think that this has replaced Spyros Run from the Reignited trilogy as my favourite gameplay animation ever. Ironic actually, as they were both by Toys for Bob, the studio behind these games. Interestingly, both animations have some similarities, which I'll get onto. So the first thing I started hearing was that the run was missing some frames, which I believe people were talking about Crash's airtime. After analysing the animation, it seems that the entire run loop is around 14-ish frames long, and of those 14-ish frames, it seems around 8 are Crash while he's in midair. And this is quite an extreme in-air part of a run cycle. And during those in-air frames, Crash's arms move very little, giving the impression of, no movement. Well, this is a hold, and it's on there to make sure that Crash looks a lot more cartoony in his movement. I can see why it would be jarring to some players when they first see it, but the run has such amazing poses throughout. The silhouette is extremely clean, which is a running theme in this game. As I mentioned before, Spyro has a very similar style of run in the Reignited trilogy. It seems like Toys for Bob are pushing their cartoony animations by having exaggerated holds like this in their locomotion, and I think it stands out brilliantly from the competition. So why is silhouette important? Well, again, in both games, Toys for Bob used the run cycle for both characters as the saving icons. This is an idea used in a lot of games, including my own, but what's great about these ones is that even with the block color, it's so obvious who these characters are. That's what you want from gameplay animations. The character nuances to come through with every frame. And I think that Crash's run, out of all the other animations in the game, totally nails that. Not to say the other animations are bad, but this one just really works. Toys for Bob wanted to be true to the Looney Tunes cartoons that inspired the first games, and you can tell, and I think they nailed that. To move on from the run, a couple of cool new additions to the spin mechanic have been made in this new game. We first have a stationary spin, which mechanically works differently from the regular one. So when you spin while not moving, Crash will do a lower spin. This is shown by a cool spin arc that's much lower to the ground. This is really cool, but the slide spin is even cooler. In the original games, when you slid and spun out of that slide, Crash would usually lean forward, but in this game, however, he does like a low spin to the ground, almost like a spinning kick. This animation paired with the cartoony particle effects really gives off a great feeling, which is what you want from a gameplay mechanic. And this technique is used a lot when going fast in the game, so it's seen a lot in speedruns and relic runs. Therefore, it's another really important animation for them to get right, and I think they nailed it. Let's go into the air for a bit. Crash's double jump in this game is much more prevalent than in the previous games due to its versatile nature in this entry. While before you could only activate it at the apex of your jump, in this game it can be activated pretty much any time after the first jump has happened, all the way until the player hits the floor again. When I first saw this double jump animation, I loved it. I couldn't work out why though. That was until I made it myself. Recently, if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been working on a Crash 4 prototype. I decided to try and recreate as much of the character controller as I could, as a study of its animation and mechanics. After replicating the double jump animation myself, I think I know why it feels so satisfying. Crash mainly keeps his legs facing the floor in his jumps. He also curls up into a ball and spins around while in the air, keeping himself very closed off. When the double jump is activated, it's a massive contrast to this. His arms and his legs splay out in all directions instantly, and then slowly rejoin the rest of the body to return to its idle jump pose. This contrast is why I think that the double jump in this game feels so satisfying to pull off. Well, let's talk about the body slam. The body slam also works differently in this game, and it can be activated at any point in the air after any number of jumps. I worked on this on my prototype as well and nailed it down to 3 animations I think they used in the game. When the player presses the button, Crash flies upwards and plays a belly flop starting type of animation. After that animation is finished, he then flies straight down while playing a looping belly flop idle animation. Then when he hits the floor, aka not in the air anymore, he plays a belly flop landing animation before the player regains control. The states you are seeing here are animation states in Unreal Engine's animation blueprints. Crash 4 was also made in Unreal Engine, just like the Spyro Reignite trilogy, and while my systems here are extremely basic, they most likely use something along these lines for the body slam and the other animations in the game. Just to go back to the run, there is a really cool addition of a scared run in the game as well. In the originals, Crash 2 specifically I remember, there was during the scenes where Crash was running away from like a boulder or a giant polar bear, he would sometimes look back in fear. And then they add to this in Crash 4 by creating a whole edited run cycle where Crash looks scared the entire time. It's a really, really nice detail. Finally, I want to talk about the wall running animations. This is such a cool, stretchy bunch of animations that feel so cartoony. When jumping onto one of these walls, Crash will play a mounting animation where he lands on it and begins running. Then he'll do a wall run cycle. That's until he gets to the end of the wall where he begins slipping. The accompaniment of a squeaky sound effect gives the player the realization that they are about to slip off the wall. It's brilliant stuff. He also has a unique jumping animation when he jumps from one of these walls. To end off here with this video, I want to say that Crash Bandicoot 4 has had a lot of time, money and effort put into making gameplay animations feel like a 3D Looney Tunes cartoon. And this is not just the gameplay animations, but all the animations in the game, from the playable characters down to just random creatures seen in levels. Every crevice of this game is busting with life, and it makes me very happy. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry that it's been a 1.5 year hiatus since my last video about Rhyme's context-sensitive animations. You know, people have, life happens basically, and I was kind of waiting for a game to come out that made me want to make a third video. There's other games that I do want to talk about eventually on the channel. When I'll get around to them, I'm not really sure, but we'll see. And also, if there's enough interest in this video, I will definitely make a part 2 where I talk about Coco, Tawana, Dingodile, and Cortex, because I think that I've got like a whole thing written here that I want to talk about, but I thought I'd just leave it with Crash for now and see and try and gauge, what the feedback is. So if you like the video and you know of someone else that might enjoy it, please pass it on to them. Share it as much as you can. If you want to support me, check out my game Sorry as Demo over on itch, and also follow me on Twitter. So thank you very much again for watching. I'll see you guys later.